losing streak, and that to the Diamondbacks that dated back to last season. And Carson Kelly homered in the eighth. Adam Jones drove in David Peralta in the ninth, and that was the Diamondbacks for you. Bell has a hitting streak now, 14 games, and his season home run total is now 12. That's the same as he had last year, right? Same as he had last year. How about that one? San Francisco, the Giants. You want West Coast teams? After this, you may not. Okay, the Giants are coming into the new era. All right. Bruce Bochy called on reliever Nick Vincent to serve as the opener against Toronto. And they got a strong bullpen, so it makes sense. Tyler Beatty was initially scheduled to start against Toronto, but Bochy he really opened up the doors to join the revolution sweeping across baseball. The Giants have posted their first really bad first inning numbers of any pitch staff and any lineup, too, through 40 games. Now, here's the deal. This is why they opened it. The Giants starters had a 9 ERA in the first inning. And when they went to Vincent, they felt that they could turn that around. Vincent hadn't allowed 3 earned runs in his last 40 appearances. All right? But the Giants in their first inning, he needed 31 pitches, but so what? That's all he was through. The Giants have been outscored 45-5 in the first inning in 41 games. No team has yielded more runs or scored fewer runs in the first inning than the San Francisco Giants. Unbelievable. Everybody's having a great time in the chat room. Really appreciate you being here. That's for damn sure. Love when you guys come in the chat room and fill it up like you do every day. Very grateful, and we thank you. And for those of you listening on Spreaker and iTunes, come on aboard. If you're picking this podcast up on the website, on the links I've sent out, come on aboard, everybody. Come into the chat room, say hello, introduce yourself. You will not regret it, okay? Here's a trivia question for you. Only one San Francisco Giant player has hit a ball harder than 111 miles an hour this year. Okay? Who is it? Okay? Who is that player? Anybody want to give a ringy-dingy on that one? Okay? Any intelligence on Sean Anderson? I know maybe he may be pitching for the Giants. It's a crapshoot. It could go either way. You know, Washington is batting 199 in the month of May, and they've got their bullpen has a 6.34 ERA. That's the worst in baseball. The only team in baseball with a 6 ERA for the bullpen. But here's the real kicker: they also have the fewest innings of any bullpen in the major, 115 innings. So they've got no, it's not Belt, guess Laura Lee. Not Williamson. Malpal's got it. It's Pablo Sandoval who's got Sean Anderson's getting the call today. Yes, he is. How about that? Hardest hit ball. The Nationals are 9 games under 500 for the first time since September 2011. And look, their inability to convert first inning double play, that killed it, as the Nationals' anemic offense followed up the Hun-Chin Ryu thing with Noah Syndergaard thing. It's not good. It's not good. By the way, Trey Turner starts a rehab assignment in Class A. The Nationals have allowed so many mistakes, putting a lot of pressure on the offense, but it's the bullpen. And it's really going to be interesting. We talked yesterday about how the Nationals just haven't responded bullpen-wise, and that's the way it is. Colorado, the pitching staff, outside of Marquez, who the White Sox got on Wednesday, it's been bad. It's been bad. It's been bad. Okay, the Sox got on Marquez, who only has a 5.5 ERA. Fifth worst batting average and slugging allowed this season. It's bad. The team set a franchise record for 9 innings. They struck out 21 times, and then they struck out 24 times. Okay, when the game went to the 11th. 24 strikeouts, tied a franchise record. How about that? Blackman's two-run, eighth inning home run stunned the Red Sox, put the Rockies ahead. Came off of Brandon Workman, okay, and it's been really tough. Chris Sale was absolutely magnificent. 17 strikeouts. He tied Arizona's Randy Johnson, most strikeouts for a starting pitcher against the Rockies in a single game. His one big mistake in the seventh inning when Arenado hit a 92-mile-an-hour fastball for a two-run homer over the Green Monster. All right, but Sale was untouchable. Absolutely. Freeland, to his credit, settled down enough to give Colorado a chance to win. He threw 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Okay? Rogers just 22. Brendan Rodgers, with Hampson going to AAA, Brendan Rodgers is hitting .436 over his last 10 games. 3 homers, 8 RBIs, and he had .356 with, I'll tell you what, he is, look, we're all aware of what he's doing, but he also notes that he's doing it in the minors and they're just not rushing him. All right? One of the reasons they haven't called Rodgers up, he would probably share playing time with Ryan McMahon, and they want to ensure that Rodgers and McMahon get regular at-bats. So Rodgers is gonna force Colorado to make a move. Absolutely going to force it. And we'll wait for Brendan. He's the guy that they want, and he's absolutely the guy that they want to play second base in Colorado. All right, as we shifted over to the American League, we talked about Chris Sale in Boston. Now let's hit the Chicago White Sox. You want to do that? You want to hit the White Sox? Well, here it goes, okay? Not much to talk about the White Sox, who really aren't lighting up the joint, but it is the Chicago White Sox. By the way, Chris Sale became the first pitcher in Major League Baseball history to strike out 17 batters in 7 innings. How about that? 17 batters. Here's a trivia question. Put your pens and pencils and bloody fingers down. Chris Sale has at least 14 strikeouts and no walks in each of his last 2 starts. Now, since 1893, okay, the only other pitcher with 2 straight starts of this type is who? 16 strikeouts in each of his last 2 outings, okay, is what he had. Chris Sale had at least 14 strikeouts and no walks in 2 starts. Now, who is the only other pitcher in baseball? And let me just say this. He's a pitcher that you all know. So it's not a Christy Mathewson type, okay? It actually happened in the 80s, all right? So he's a pitcher that you know. Who is it? 14 strikeouts, no walks. Who's the only other pitcher who had that kind of mark? It wasn't Nolan Ryan. It wasn't Babe Ruth. No, it was in the 1980s. I'll give you that. It wasn't Pedro. That's a great guess, Pedro. The Yankees, Kendrys Morales. Now, not only some people say that he's done. He's done. Here's something about Morales that you may not know. He's sort of a coach. He's a tremendous resource of information on opposing pitchers. He studies the film. He shares all the useful stuff with his teammates. He makes his team better. So he was designated for assignment on Monday. He was only hitting .204, but with Matt Olson back. So look, let's see what happens. We all know that the Yankees need bodies. It wasn't Fernando. Golden? Who's Golden? It was Gooden. Arnie gets it right. It was Dwight Gooden, the only other pitcher to get 14 strikeouts in 2 straight games. Okay, who's going to fill the rotation in Chicago with Ben Willis going down? They don't have a lot to choose from. Dylan Cease. They don't want to rush him along. They don't want to rush him along only because they may look outside the organization. So all I'm saying is don't think that Dylan Cease is going to be the guy to call up. That may not happen right now. Hey, a fan addict is still hanging in there. How you doing, kid? All right. So the White Sox and the Indians meet again starting May 30th, and Jordan Luplow will be there. Okay, he's played 6 games against the White Sox. He's 7 for 20. How about that? He opened the season with the Indians. He was optioned to AAA. So look, he hit .350 in AAA. So pretty good. Mike Clevenger threw 20-pitch bullpen session Tuesday. First time he's been on the mound since April 7th, so he could be back sooner than later. Here's an interesting thing. Detroit and the Astros went at it. Astros have hit 30 home runs in their last 10 games. I don't even think that counted yesterday. The Tigers had 32 all season. Springer and Bregman had 28. How about that? Here's a trivia question for you. Since you got the Dwight Gooden question so quick that I got to give you another one. All right, here it is. 3 earned runs or less in 24 starts. In the last 10 years, only Jake DeGrom, Jake Arrieta, and Corey Kluber have longer streaks. But who's the guy who gave up 3 earned runs or less in 24 starts? And again, in the last 10 years, only DeGrom, Arrieta, and Kluber have had longer streaks, and he's pitching now. Who's the guy pitching now who has given up 3 earned runs or less in 24 straight starts? Okay? This is a good one. Wade Miley. You guys, when I tell you Beach Bum gets it, I mean, look, I know I'm bragging because these are my guys. And when I tell you they're the smartest bunch of people, if you're a baseball fan, how long did it take Beach Bum to get it? 7 minutes? Wade Miley's cutter, his usage, look, he's throwing it 54% of the time, okay? 54% in his 2.79 ERA. The last is the 8th lowest among all starting pitchers with 120 innings. Carlos Correa in May, 13 for 43, 3 doubles and 4 homers, and the game was decided quickly when Correa hit a 3-run home run in the top of the first inning. And how about my boy? Ronnie Rodriguez leads the Tigers with 6 home runs in 21 games. He is pounding the ball, and if you listen to my Sirius show, I have touted him left and right, and I do it on the podcast right and left, okay? Cha-Cha found a steak in his shorts wait a minute. It wasn't a steak. So anyway, George Springer, of course, named American League Player of the Week. How about that? So, unbelievable. Now, you want to know, Nicky Lopez was batting second in the order. So, a couple of lackluster offensive performances over the weekend, but they got a new look in the lineup. Lopez batting second. The pitching staff, which entered the day having allowed the second most runs per game in baseball, 5.6. Look, the Royals early 11-5 win in their first game of a 3-game set against the Rangers. There was 19,000 at Kaufman. The Royals have now scored 10 runs or more 4 times this year. They hit line drives. They don't hit them out of the ballpark. Merrifield, 3 hits, including his 500th, scored 3 times. Gordon, Hunter, Solar. This is not a bad team. Lopez became the first Royal player since Jeremy Giambi to bat second in his Major League debut. Oh, how about that one? The Royals, 18 batters to the plate in the first 2 innings. And away we go. Danny Duffy struck out 6, walked 1, picked up his second win in 4 starts. He began the year on the injured list. We had a caller who said, should I pick up Danny Duffy? The answer was yes. And he has another start this week. Brad Asmus called on Justin Bour to pinch hit with 1 out and running on first. And he struck out for the 31st time, and then he was sent to Salt Lake City after the game. All right? So Byron Buxton once again made a great defensive play. Threw a rocket to throw out Shohei Ohtani, who tried to score from second. All right, Garver suffered a high ankle sprain. We're going to monitor that. He has become a force. He's framing the pitches well. He's hitting 329 with 19 RBIs and a ridiculous 747 slugging percentage, OPS of over 1,000. I mean, unbelievable. He's been playing good. Oakland lost on the road for the 11th time in 12 games. The Athletics are 5-15 on the road. They have 7 more games ahead on this road trip. 7 more. It's not going to be easy. Brett Anderson, a lot of 1-run games. Oakland is 14-10 at home, and they can't win on the road. Brett Anderson jinxed again. He allowed just one home run in his first 43 innings